he fell in love with the woman who cooked with rats.
The aroma from Iya Basira's buka curled through the air like a spell, pulling people from every corner of the busy street. Taxi drivers parked haphazardly, office workers loosened their ties, and Okada riders abandoned their bikes, all to get a plate of her food. The buka was hot, noisy, and smelled of pepper and smoke, yet people swore it was the best place to eat in the whole city. Iya Basira stood behind her giant pots, sweat glistening on her dark, round face. Her wrapper was stained, her hair always tied in the same worn scarf, and her hands. Well, nobody cared what they looked like. What mattered was the food, spicy, sweet, unforgettable. Her amala melted on the tongue, her uidu was so smooth it slid down like silk, and her pepper soup. They said even the sick got well after eating it. Across the road, a black SUV pulled up. The tinted window rolled down, and the man inside stepped out. Tall, well-dressed, with the kind of watch that could buy 3 plots of land in Lekki, Chief Adewale was known by almost everyone in the area. He owned hotels, filling stations, and even a nightclub. Yet here he was, smiling like a small boy as he crossed the road toward Iya Basira's buka. "Madam Basira," he greeted, his deep voice carrying over the noise. "Ah, Chief," she shouted back, her face breaking into a wide grin that made her dimples pop. "Your usual." "Yes, double portion today. My spirit has been longing for your food since morning," he said, laughing. The other customers turned to look at him, whispering. What was a man like Chief Adewale doing here, every single day, when he could afford to dine at the best restaurants in town? As Iya Basira scooped steaming amala onto his plate, her small eyes twinkled. She knew exactly why people kept coming back. She knew the secret ingredient that made her food impossible to resist, and tonight, when everyone had gone home, she would be going to look for more of it. Chief Adewale sat on the wooden bench, eating with his hands like a man who had been starving all day. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but he didn't care. The hot stew burned his tongue, yet he smiled after every swallow. "Iya Basira," he said between mouthfuls, "I don't know how you do it. This is better than any restaurant food in Lagos. Even my wife cannot cook like this." Iya Basira chuckled, pleased. "Chief, you will make me shy," she said, her voice thick and teasing. She loved it when big men like him praised her. It made her feel powerful. Around them, the other customers watched, whispering. Some women hissed under their breath. They couldn't understand why a man of chief status would sit in a dirty buka with flies buzzing around. When Chief finished, he wiped his hands on a handkerchief and leaned closer. "Iya Basira, one day you must tell me your secret. What do you put in this food that makes it taste like heaven?" Her heart skipped. For a moment, she froze, staring at him. Then she laughed it off, waving her hand dramatically. "Ah, Chief. If I tell you my secret, you will open your own buka and steal all my customers." Chief laughed too, but he couldn't take his eyes off her. There was something about the way she moved, the way she looked at him. Bold, unashamed, almost daring. She was nothing like the polished women he met at business dinners. She was raw, real, and somehow, tempting. As he stood to leave, his phone rang. He glanced at it and frowned. His wife's name flashed on the screen. For a moment, guilt pricked his heart, but then he silenced the call and turned back to Iya Basira. "Tomorrow," he said softly, "I will come again. I want to eat before the crowd comes. Just me and you." Iya Basira's lips curled into a slow smile. "Come early, Chief. I will keep something special for you." He didn't know it yet, but tonight she would go hunting. And the ingredient she would find would make tomorrow's meal sweeter than ever. Night came quickly, and the city transformed. The busy street where Iya Basira's buka stood grew quiet, except for the occasional honk of a passing car. The smell of pepper soup had faded, replaced by the damp scent of garbage. Iya Basira tied her wrapper tightly and grabbed a black nylon bag. She glanced around to make sure no one was watching before stepping into the alley behind her buka. Her feet made squishy sounds as she walked through the wet ground. This was her favorite time of the night, when the city slept and only the brave or the wicked roamed. At the back of the alley stood an open gutter, half covered with planks. Rats scurried in and out, their tiny eyes glowing in the dark. Iya Basira crouched, waiting patiently. She knew which ones to take, the fat ones that had been feeding on leftover scraps from the buka. Within minutes, she caught 3. She tied them in the black nylon, humming softly to herself. This was her ritual, her secret. No one had ever caught her. No one ever would. As she turned to leave, a shadow moved at the far end of the alley. She froze. Her heart pounded. For a moment, she thought she was imagining things, until she heard footsteps approaching. "Who's there?" she barked, her voice sharp. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a soft laugh floated through the darkness. "Iya Basira," a man's voice said, low and mocking. "So this is where the magic happens." Her blood ran cold. She couldn't see his face, but she knew the voice. It was Jide, the young man who sold phone chargers near her buka. He had been eyeing her suspiciously for weeks. "What do you want?" she snapped. He stepped closer, smiling. "Relax, Mama Basira. I just want a little deal. You give me free food every day, and I won't tell anyone what I just saw." Iya Basira's grip tightened on the nylon bag. She hated being threatened. But if this boy talked, everything, her business, her secret, her special bond with Chief, would be over. "Come tomorrow," she said slowly, forcing a smile. "We will talk." Jide nodded and walked away, whistling as if he had already won. But Iya Basira's mind was racing. Tomorrow, she decided, Jide would not live to eat from her buka. The next morning, the buka was already full before sunrise. People banged on her wooden counter, shouting their orders. But Iya Basira's mind wasn't on her customers. Her eyes kept darting toward the entrance, waiting for Jide. When he finally appeared, she felt her stomach twist. He strolled in casually, grinning, as if he owned the place. "Good morning, Mama Basira," he said loudly, loud enough for people nearby to hear. "I came for my free breakfast." Iya Basira forced a smile. Sit down," she said sweetly. "Today, I cooked something special for you." The customers laughed and teased him. Jide looked proud, thinking he had her under control. Minutes later, she placed a steaming bowl of pepper soup in front of him. Jide's eyes widened. The meat inside looked tender, juicy, almost too good to be true. "Eat," she said softly, watching him. He dug in quickly, chewing with satisfaction. Mama Basira, you are the best." She smiled, but her heart was cold. Inside the pepper soup was a special mixture she had prepared at dawn, a mixture that would silence Jide forever before he had the chance to open his mouth. But just as she turned away, a familiar voice called from outside. "Basira." It was Chief Adiwale. The moment he walked in, the entire buka went silent. He looked fresh and powerful in his starched white egbada. He spotted Jide and frowned. "Who is this one?" he asked. "Just a customer," Iya Basira replied quickly. Chief's eyes lingered on Jide suspiciously, but then he smiled and sat down. "Today, I want to eat here with you, Basira. Sit down beside me." The customers gasped. Iya Basira's heart pounded. She glanced at Jide, who was still slurping the pepper soup greedily. Then she looked at Chief, his eyes soft, almost tender as they rested on her. For the first time, she felt something strange. Guilt. As Jide swallowed the last piece of meat, Iya Basira turned away. She didn't want to watch. By noon, the buka was quieter. Most of the morning rush had gone, leaving only a few customers finishing their meals. Jide was still sitting there, grinning like a fool, rubbing his stomach. "That was the best pepper soup I've ever had," he said lazily. "From today, this is my buka. I will never eat anywhere else."